Hey everybody, this is Tim with the University of Vinyl, and we are coming in hot today. That's my best Bob Bradley impression. Love you, Bob. On a more serious note, where are we? We are halfway into the month of January, and today I want to do a little show and tell. I have had an incredible hot streak of used vinyl digging here over the last 2 weeks in January. Um, I've got 10 albums to show you today. Everything from white label promos to rare pressings. Let's get into it right now. There's a national chain establishment in Fort Collins, Colorado. I've talked about it before. I've been there before. And I was there recently, and it's kind of annoying. The powers that be on their management board, whoever that may be, decided they were going to kill off the new arrivals. There were two new arrivals bins, and the store is very, very chaotic. It's very disorganized. There are literally probably 20 different bays of used records available. Everything from pop rock to poorly managed jazz titles, and then some categorized country and blues. Very, very, very poorly mismanaged. So whenever I go there, invariably, if I have time and if I'm in the mood, I can spend up to an hour just kind of wheedling through all these different bins. And it's so much better when we have a new arrivals bin. Then I can just go right there and look for fresh stuff. I will give this place props because the price tag includes a date stamp. So they put a date stamp on the day that everything comes in. So at least you know when you're trawling through everything if it's a recent addition or not. However, the other day, despite their not having a new arrivals bin, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed an employee pushing around a cart. And the cart had 3 bins of just chuck full of records. And the employee, I actually went over and just, made small talk with him for a moment and asked him, hey, are those new things that you're kind of putting on the shelves? Yep, they are. Would you mind if I took a quick look? So the next 3 things I'm going to show you came from this new arrival bin that the employee was in the process of putting into the shelves. My God, that took me a long time to get that out. I'm sorry. The interesting thing about these next 3 albums is the date stamp and the price tag all said 11/21/21. So, I guess it's a COVID thing. I don't know. They're short staffed, but my God, they're struggling in the second week of January to get stuff out on shelves that they took in middle to late November. What is the world coming to? Okay, the first thing I found was the fantastic John Lennon Imagine album. This is an early U.S. press. The cover, it's got that heavy laminated cover treatment to it. And the cover is not in fantastic shape. It actually was a little bit warped, and I was concerned that maybe the record would be warped as well. That's not the case, thankfully. But this is an early U.S. press. It is a Bell Sound pressing, mastered by Sam Feldman, who is pretty highly regarded in the VC and the audiophile circles as far as mastering is concerned. It had the custom John Lennon face on side A on the label. And excuse this dirty sleeve, but there is of course it was on Apple on side B, but great sounding record, under $10. That's another crazy thing about this store. I will find 2 copies of Rumors. One will be priced at $79 and the other will be priced at $14. So it's a mixed bag. But in this case, I got lucky. So didn't have a copy of this album. Really happy to have it in the collection. The next thing in that pile of records, in that incoming bin that I found, was a fantastic near mint copy of AC/DC's Let There Be Rock. This is a Richmond press, and this is the George Peckenham pressing, and it's on that yellow Atco label. I've done a whole video on George Peckenham. He is known for his kind of funny nomenclature that he will etch into albums. In this case, on side 2, we have Master Room is etched into side 2, and a Porky Prime cut is etched into side A. This is a great AC/DC title. Everything from Dog Eat Dog, Let There Be Rock, Bad Boy Boogie, Problem Child, Overdose, Whole Lot of Rosie, Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be. Again, this was under $15. Near mint condition on the record, which is what's most important. And a Porky Prime cut. Super happy. I couldn't believe what I found next, especially considering I had just done a video on Gilbert Kong pressings. I found another near mint record. This, of course, is Rush 2112. I've been going through Discogs, and there's a 1976 version of the Gilbert Kong cut, which would make it an early pressing. And then there's a reissue or a repress from 1979. In any case, I haven't finally determined which one of those this album is, but I will tell you it sounds fantastic. I have an early US press of 2112 mastered by JAMF, which is highly regarded, but man, I don't know. I think this is a little more quiet than the other example that I have in the collection. The sleeve is in much better shape. The record is near mint. This is probably going to be staying in the collection as my everyday copy, and I'll probably move on the JAMF version that I have. But yeah, Gilbert Kong, I've never seen a Rush 2112 mastered copy by GK in the wild, and was shocked to find this under $15. So thank you very much, National Chain, that decided to get rid of your incoming bins, but was happy to find these 3 albums on a pretty lucky, stumble into the shop on a whim. I've got another favorite shop in Fort Collins, Colorado that I will frequent at least once a week. And I had a recent episode there that was fantastic as far as things that I found. Let's get into those now. We recently lost Michael Nesmith, Naz, fondly known as Naz, and from the Monkees, of course. And there was a fantastic article, which is few and far between these days, in Rolling Stone magazine online, actually, and an in-depth interview with Michael Nesmith during, they just did, he and Mickey just did a 40-date tour, October, November, and sadly, Michael Nesmith just passed away a few weeks ago. We lost him. So I have been on the lookout for some Monkees albums, and they're very difficult to find in clean, original condition. So I was kind of shocked when I came across Instant Replay. Now, this is the album that came out in 1969. Peter Tork had left the band at that point in time. So it was a trio then, but it is in near mint condition, very, very fairly priced. There are some great songs on this album, but my favorite is the Michael Nesmith, While I Cry. And there's a YouTube video out there of one of the, I think it may be the final Monkees, Michael and Mickey show that they did in November. I think it was in LA. But Nesmith did a live version of While I Cry, and apparently that had not ever been done up to this tour live before. So really touching, really poignant. It's a beautiful song, and this is a fantastic album that I was happy to find. Of course, it's on that iconic red Cold Gems label. And if you can see that sheen and luster, you can see how happy I was to find this thing in this kind of condition. Another of the video episodes that I covered on different mastering engineers was one on George Piros. George Piros worked for Atlantic Records for years, and I was really happy to find this Roxy Music Siren LP on the Atco label, a subsidiary of Atlantic Records. And was really happy to find GP in the Dead Wax for this album. This has famously got Love is a Drug, Sentimental Fool on it, Both Ends Burning. This is a fantastic Roxy album. Again, near mint condition, mastered by George Piros. What could be better? So during the same visit, I found what could be my favorite Journey album. That is the 1978 Infinity album, and this just so happens to be a white label promo. I loved Greg Raleigh when he was still in the band, especially on those songs where Steve Perry and Raleigh kind of traded off lead vocals. I'm thinking about Anytime is a fantastic song. Lights I think was just Perry. Anyway, this is a fantastic album. This has got the Ken Dunn stamp in both sides. So Ken Dunn Recorders, if you know, you know. I did another video on the Ken Dunn Recorders Mastering House back in Burbank, California in the mid to late 1970s. They were highly regarded, and this is a fantastic sounding pressing. So happy I found this. And there is that white label demonstration, not for sale. Love it when I find these. And just for good measure, I stumbled across a fantastic near mint copy of Raised on Radio by Journey. Didn't have a copy of this, and it was mastered by Bob Ludwig. There's RL in the Dead Wax, custom label on that one. Raised on Radio could be the last great Journey album. I actually saw them on this tour. Lone Justice opened. It was a good show. Happy to find this too. There's probably around half a dozen of these antique malls around Fort Collins, Colorado. There's actually a little district where they're kind of all in the same vicinity of each other. And, these are the typical places that have individually rented stalls. And there's 2 or 3 really good vinyl dealers in a couple of these places. So I tend to hit these maybe once a month. And I was in there last week and found a couple things of note. First of all, I found fantastic 12-inch from the Nightfly album. These I love the kind of plain nature to this thing. It says from the Warner Brothers album, The Nightfly. So obviously, this must have been a lead single that was sent out to radio stations. New Frontier, and on the flip side was The Goodbye Look. mastered by Robert Ludwig. This thing sounds amazing, just like the entire Nightfly album does. But this is, you can put this on and have a really focused, singular listening session to, especially New Frontier. What a great song, and the mastering on this is amazing. The separation of instruments is fantastic. Um, Really, really happy I found this. It was $3. While we're on the topic of Donald Fagen, I have a related find, and that is a really, really nice clean pressing of Countdown to Ecstasy. This was the second Steely Dan album. I just love that iconic photograph. That screams 1973, 1974 to me with Steely Dan. That, of course, was taken at the Village Recorders recording studios, West LA, where Steely Dan did a lot of recording. Now, the cool thing about this particular album is I had a later reissue on the ABC label, but it was the rainbow, the yellow, red, concentric circle pressing, which sounded okay, but what I found here is a very, very early first pressing, and that's on that ABC Blocks. It's called the Blocks label. You don't see these very often. And the record's, I'd say, VG plus to near mint, and didn't pay a lot of money for it. The sleeve is in pretty good shape. I think there's a little bit of water damage on the back, but all in all, super happy to find this. I gave it a listen. Very, very dynamic recording. This is the best that I have heard this album to date. And it's on that all black early ABC label with the kind of multicolored ABC in blocks. Last but certainly not least, I have another fantastic find from an album that I have been looking for and watching Discogs for. Happened to find it back down at Absolute Vinyl and Stereo in Longmont, Colorado, one of my favorite shops. And this is the 2012 pressing of Red Hot Chili Peppers' Californication. This is across two different LPs on the Warner Brothers label. This is the Chris Bellman from Bernie Grundman Mastering House. The Chris Bellman cut. There's CB on all four sides of the album. This was fairly priced. It was within Discogs median, so I snapped it up. The owner, Doug, had it up on some of his featured albums on the wall, and was super happy to find that. In doing some research, it turns out, I think that they've done a repress of this album using the Bellman mastered plates. And I heard it was available on Amazon, a couple other websites. I did a double check. It's no longer available, but keep an eye out. You might be able to find that for a reasonable price. I'm talking, $30, $35. This thing is quite pricey, but it sounds amazing. Another great Chris Bellman cut. He's done all of these kind of recent audiophile reissues, and this is another one, although this is going all the way back to 2012, but great condition, and kind of a grail for me. Was really happy to find this. This is a great album produced by Rick Rubin, kind of a return to form for Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I remember, I only ever had this on CD, and I played the hell out of it. There it is. That is the mid-January kind of snapshot of where I am right now as far as the hot streak I'm in the middle of. Who knows how long it will continue for. Thank you very much for watching. I want to just give a shout out to everybody who watches, all the subscribers, all the people who take a bit of time to make a comment. It's fun to interact with people. I just recently went over 5,000 subscribers. I'm blown away. I've got a couple cool videos planned to kind of commemorate my first year in the VC, which is coming up in a week or two. And coupled with the fact that I've gone over 5,000 subscribers, just incredible. Thanks, everybody, and we'll be back soon.